Welcome to our next segment. I'm very happy to introduce Richard Dickens, who's a social worker. And Richard, tell us, you do a lot of other things, so tell us what you do.
I do. I've been at Cancer Care for 22 years. It's a wonderful organization. I came there as an oncology social worker. It was a career change for me in midlife. And over the years, I developed many programs, as well as now my title is Director of Client Advocacy. So I'm responsible for and very much involved in bringing the voice of, we call our people clients who come to Cancer Care because we work with patients, caregivers, and bereaved. And to more the national debate on with pharmaceutical companies, with stakeholders, with government and things like that, bringing the voice of the patient.
Patient and the caregivers out there,
to their discussions.
That's amazing. And you told me also that you are yourself a cancer survivor.
I am. I was in the midst of a career change. I was a marathon runner, and then I got diagnosed at 37 with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. And I put graduate school off for a year and eventually did finish and was hired at Cancer Care, where I originally came as a patient. And I've been there 22 years.
And the rest is history, huh?
The rest is history.
But tell me this, Richard out here was a marathon runner, and you were a college athlete. I tried to do a 1K on and off, so I guess I'm in the same category as you guys. But tell me about how was it for you after your diagnosis? You know, you were a college athlete, you were into soccer. I know you had to kind of hang up your cleats, but when was it that you realized that this is not something that you can do, and how did you change your life around after that?
So, you know, in the initial diagnosis and treatment, you kind of go through a state of shock and then survival mode. And so you don't have really a whole lot of time to process what's kind of happening to you. Or for me, it didn't. And so I guess when I realized I kind of had a new normal, a new life, was at my 3-month follow-up. All my girlfriends were on spring break, and I was sitting in this physician's office sulking because I was so upset that this had happened to me.
Right.
And, you know, that's kind of when my physician had a true heart-to-heart with me and said, you know, Taylor, this disease affects way more people than you could imagine. And it has a terrible stigma, and it's very underfunded, and you have an opportunity to use your voice to speak. And so at that point, I kind of made it a goal of mine to really try to speak up anytime I had the opportunity. And then also just, you know, realize that I had a new, different life than what I had before. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't worse, it just was different. Emotionally, and physically. And physically, I think, was a big challenge for me, just because I was in great shape, and then I got to the point where I was not in great shape. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, there was little things along the way that I used, tips and tricks to kind of help me get back into shape. And one of the things I think that kind of kick-started me was my physician and PA challenged me to a 5K.
5K?
Yes.
Did they run a 5K?
Yes, they were in great shape.
Something I will now challenge my patients to do. I have to run it myself.
And so the 5K was actually to support lung cancer research. Mm-hmm. So I thought, what a great cause. It'll be a year after my diagnosis, we'll make it work. And so I trained pretty hard for that 5K race. And they
After your surgery, after part of your lung had been taken out?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. And so they ran the race with me. They were significantly faster. So the cool part was that they finished way before me, but they turned back around and ran back to where I was, and then we all finished the race together, which I thought was really, really cool. It was definitely awesome to see that kind of support from my healthcare team. And, you know, it really kind of put me in gear to continue to work on my fitness and be okay with the fact that I'll probably never run a 7-minute mile again, but that's okay as long as I get out and I'm active.
So are you still active? Do you get out now?
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about, you know, for people like me who are not very, you know, athletically inclined,
right.
To, you know, how do we, you know, what all can we, you know, what all can you do? What are you doing right now?
Absolutely. So I think that if you can find something that you semi-enjoy, it's probably better than doing
Eating?
something that, better than doing something that, you know, you hate. So I always try to find things that I enjoy to do that keep me active. I'm learning to play golf, but I make it a point to walk the course as opposed
to not like drive,
not ride the cart. And so that's one of the things that a small tip or trick that I think is helpful. So it's good to play golf even if you are riding the cart, you're at least out and being active. But I think every time you can take an incremental step to do just a little bit more is better. So I have a push cart and I walk the course, and it's pretty good exercise if you've never done it. And then I also started a running group in my neighborhood, and we run 5:30 in the morning. And it's kind of been good for me because I started the group, so I have to be there.
You have to be there at 5:30
so there's
every morning?
Yes.
Every single morning?
Well, not on the weekends.
Not on the weekends, thank God.
Yes. And we started off like very slow pace, kind of walk for a minute, run for a minute, walk for a minute, run for a minute. And we've worked our way up. And so I think, if you have the opportunity to do something like that, where you have a team of people that are holding you accountable and also encouraging you, it's really, really important.